For the last 2 years, I know I've been talking about it a lot because it's been an impactful last 2 years, but I realized something. And this came about because one day I was having a conversation with a friend and we were talking about the law of attraction. And law of attraction actually is what got me into my own self-development journey, reading books on psychology, biology, and really getting into the weeds of what the mind creates and how it does it and why we do what we do. It was something that was handed to me. Someone mentioned watch this documentary one day, and I watched it. I ended up getting the book The Secret and doing all that stuff. I even practiced a little bit of the exercises and the thought processes and utilizing affirmations and all of that for a few years in my early 20s. And obviously, the law of attraction only works if you work. You can't just think things into existence. You need to put action behind it. You need to put some energy towards it because the way luck works is by utilizing volume. So if you do the thing enough times, eventually something will happen. Um, Obviously, as you do it, you get better and better. You receive feedback, you get better. You can't be doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You pivot, small pivots until you make it. Um, every company has done it. All the stories we've heard, they started one way, ended up turning into something else. Now they're these big behemoths, whether that's Facebook, Airbnb, Uber. All of them have done some kind of pivot to get to where they are today. So, law of attraction became very popular because it was the whole idea. It was not a new idea. It was taken from Napoleon Hill and his books Think and Grow Rich and just kind of changed. Nothing is original. So I took that thought. We were talking about it. And I was like, have we ever thought of the opposite of that law of attraction? Because to some extent it works if you know what you're doing, and to some extent it doesn't work. You can't just sit there and be like, I want $1 million in my bank account and keep repeating that until $1 million drops in your bank account. That just doesn't happen. That's not the way God created this world. But I was looking at what's the opposite of that, because whatever the opposite of that is, I've been experiencing that for the last 2 years. And me and my friend ended up getting on off the phone, but it stood in my mind, and every time something stays stuck like that, I go out on a walk. I walk with my dog, and I'm sitting there, and I'm usually on my walks. I talk to God, I pray, and as I'm going through it, I come up with this law, pretty much. I never heard of it before, but I was like, oh, I don't know if this is a thought that came to me or have I heard it somewhere. So I Googled it. Um, I didn't see it out there. Maybe my Googling skills are not as good as yours, so I highly recommend you check it first. But I call it the law of repulsion. It is a law that's created through fear. So instead of the opposite, which is the law of attraction, where you think positive thoughts and you think this is going to happen, not that it might happen, and you are optimistic about it, this law represents fear. It's being afraid that something will happen. As you continue to be more afraid, the thing is more likely to happen because you're expecting it. It's the whole idea. You've probably heard it, especially in like relationship Instagram or relationship TikTok, where people give advice on relationships. If you think something's going to happen, it probably will. If you look for something, you'll probably find it. Oh, like my partner is cheating on me. They could not be cheating on you, but they could have had a DM earlier on in your relationship that somebody was flirting with them. They probably flirted back because it was still the beginning of y'all. There was no, you know, seriousness to it, no exclusivity. So they were like, okay, I'm gonna flirt and see where this leads, and maybe it didn't lead anywhere, but that message stayed there in their DMs, and you find it. Boom, you blow it up, becomes this whole thing, and the next thing you know, you keep doing that, you keep doing that, and something we humans like to do is oh, if you think it's true, I'm gonna make sure it's true, and then they end up doing it, depending on the person, but most people do that. So so I'm just looking at my notes about this because obviously this is a new thought and it's still building up in my mind. But as we know, I always say the law of attraction is built through positivity, love, and a union of God. You attract things into your life that you think the most of, because if you think of psychology and our biases and unconsciously and what we're doing, what you pay attention to, you'll get more of. If you look for the thing, you'll find it. It's even in the Bible. I forget the verse, but seeking you'll find, or something like that. Um, so you will find those things. And that's not like a magical thing. It's just because you're looking for it. So your brain is waiting for that moment. And when you hear the thing, you see the thing, your brain automatically jumps into that thing because it's you've been thinking about it. So of course that's gonna happen. Same thing happens with fear. Same thing happens with the law of repulsion. You're repulsing things away from you versus like law of attraction is bringing them in, right? So in here, you attract what you fear. Listen, in my 2 years, I was, I had fear that I was going to lose my partner at the time. I'd had fear and imposter syndrome about the job I had. I had fear that I wasn't going to be stable forever. I had all these fears for a long time. I mean, I would wake up in the middle of the night sometimes just stressing out about it, or I would be taking a shower and have a quick panic attack because I was scared of what the future might hold and losing these things. I would, you know, have a day where it just didn't, everything didn't feel right. And I was like, today is the day, it's going to happen. And while it didn't happen all at once, I mean, it kind of did within a few months, but it's unfortunate that it continued to happen, these bad things, all these things that I attracted in a sense or repulsed away from me that I already had, was because the law of repulsion was in full effect. I was not focusing on any positivity, optimism, no union with God. I was not focused with that. It took that to happen in order for me to focus on my union with God, which equates to being more optimistic and more loving and things like that. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm still going through this. I'm still dealing with a lot of fear in my life because so much instability has came in this year, and I'm building up that stability again, and that takes time um, because I'm in a new era, you can say, of my life. So everything you do, think about it like that. Are you attracting good things? Are you attracting optimism, love? I'm not saying to be completely positive 110% of the time. That's toxic positivity does exist, but it's being optimistic, it's being realistic and optimistic at the same time. How can you be realistic? What is the best possible scenario? I used to say, what is the worst and the best possible scenario? And you'll land somewhere in the middle. But try to make it where you land closer to the positive part. Nothing's going to be perfect. You're going to build a business and hope that by month 3, you get to a certain number, and you might get close. You might overshoot it, right? Like you probably won't hit the number on the dot. It may happen, and then there's still possibilities out there, but the possibilities are low. But I use these stories, I use my own experience to let you know that the law of repulsion is real. I, I've been through it. It sucks. And while the law of attraction, kind of, I don't use it, I still use it as a term, but I don't follow what I learned in the documentary The Secret or the book, because I think those are more like, you know, magical thinking, and maybe some of those people weren't being completely honest about it. That, our memories are very faulty, so sometimes we just, tell stories, and we're 80% of it is made up, while 20% might be real. So, that includes mine. I might be over exaggerating. I don't even know because I don't quite remember every single detail. So I'm still utilizing the law of attraction, of being optimistic and just putting myself out there every day. That's what I'm doing with this channel, right? Like, I could have quit because some of my videos do get 2 or 3 views, but I take it, I learn my lesson, and I try to make something better. So, luckily, this challenge has shown me what I need to focus on, which is why I did it. I did it for a few reasons: to continue my consistency, to really build a habit of this, and to do it every single day. Um, Second, to see what you guys, my audience, truly wants to see. What audience am I attracting to this channel? I do want to focus on lifestyle and helping young men become better versions of themselves, and to think through things and be logical, but also be able to utilize their heart in many ways. Trying to turn y'all all into Kratos from God of War. Oh, at the end, Kratos, where he's like in his full masculinity, right? He's a father, but he's still a badass mother, you know. And that's what I want for this channel and for the community I'm looking to build. But that's me utilizing the law of attraction in my own way. I'm trying to prevent the law of repulsion from coming in and ruining everything. So I don't fear anything. I'm trying not to fear the bad comments that come in, and they have. I've been judged or I've been called cringe and all these things. It's like, okay, keep going. That's good news. Um, Bad publicity is good publicity. Whatever bad comments is still good. It means you're doing something. You're pushing others away while you're bringing others in. So yeah, that is what the opposite of the law of attraction is. What are your thoughts? Love to hear below. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you're still here. And until tomorrow.